Amma. Welcome to this Amma, where you can Amma, and I'll try to answer. It's been a while since I've done this. Let's see if I'm live. Am I live? YouTube. I think I'm live. Hello. Hello and welcome to my Amma. There we go. I see it. I see it. I see it. All right. Hello and welcome, everybody. Ask me questions. Some of you folks were asking. It's been a while since I've done this, so it's like, okay, let's do it. It's the holiday season. I hope you folks are all in the holiday mood. What is Amma? Amma is I want to come up with something really silly and funny for this, but my mind is drawing a blank. I'm just going to be boring and answer your question. AMA stands for Ask Me Anything. So it's an Ask Me Anything session. You can ask me any questions and I'll try my best to answer. It can be questions related to tech, career counseling, or whatever. You can ask me, I don't know, philosophy questions. Ask me what's the meaning of life. I know the meaning of life, so if you want to know, you can ask. I'm going to pull the questions over here so that it shows up on the screen. Hey, here's another thing before I forget. When you ask me a question, put a Q colon in the front so that I can distinguish a question from a just a comment. Okay, so I'm a software developer. Yes, I'm a software developer. All right. Okay. Here's another thing I wanted to do, which is I always have trouble with this. You know how we have all those Twitch streams where the comments show up on the side? I want to do that, but it's a little painful to set up in this thing. Well, actually, why don't we do that? Let me actually do that. I'm sorry, I'm completely going off track of AMA, but I want to set up this live stream. I want to feel like a Twitch streamer. I'm like cool and all that stuff. So I'm gonna try and do this. Okay, so I have this pop out chat. I've got the chat window here and I'm going to try and make this happen. All right, let's try and make this happen. I've been trying to do this for such a long time. I'm going to bring in this chat window. So, all right, here we go. Here we go. Give me a second. I'm going to create a new. Oops. Not what I had in mind. All right. New entire screen. No, not entire screen. This is going to be Safari pop out. There we go. I did it. Okay, this wasn't so bad. All right, so this stream window, the chat window is going to be on the side. So whatever you post will show up on my stream. So be nice, okay? Be nice. I'm going to trust you folks. And this is not going to be top chat. This is going to be live chat. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, we have the chat window here. See, now I feel like a Twitch streamer. Now I feel like a Twitch streamer. All right, let's bring on the questions. Ooh, testing. You didn't believe me. Come on. It's right there. Um, oops. Wait, why is that not showing up? Okay, there it is. Yeah, it is showing up. Cool. I'm going to bring in the questions now. What's your daily routine? How many hours do you spend on work, family, study? Okay, so my daily routine is I start out really early. I wake up at around 5 o'clock every day, which is unheard of for programmers because we programmers have the stereotype of being lazy. We wake up at 10 o'clock, code all night. I don't do that. I wake up early and I go to work early. The reason I do this is because traffic where I live sucks. If I drive to work, it takes about 20 minutes, like when there is no traffic. But if I travel to work when it is office hours, it takes about an hour, hour and a half. So I go to office really, really early. And as a result, I try to wrap up really, really early as well. So like around 3 o'clock, I'm done because I go to office super early, right? I'm in office around 5:36. But come back home, spend time with family, and I don't watch movies or stuff like that. I don't play computer games or any of those other stuff. I do some light reading. I catch up on online content, comments and all that stuff from the channel. And I code something or the other. Something or the other. It's not like I want to sit and I say like I have to code. It's just there's always something to do. So I end up coding and then I prepare some content for tutorials and training and all that stuff. I read and prepare some stuff. So it's like about 2 hours, 1 or 2 hours every day. And I read and I sleep. So pretty boring life. Okay. So that's what I do. I have a Java Spring Boot interview tomorrow. Any tips or important things to remember? Well, if you have an interview tomorrow, there's only so much preparation you can do right now. So I would say focus on confidence and focus on kind of like the mind game, the body language, right? Be in a good space. What I've normally found is when you have an interview coming up and then you're going like, oh, did I cover this? Did I study this? Did I cram this? It ends up having a negative impact on your performance because your mind will be focused on what you haven't covered. So it'll show up in your body language. You will be slumped. You will not be confident. So if you have an interview tomorrow, stop preparing. Focus on your mind. Focus on how confident you are. Focus on bringing that confidence into yourself. Focus on the things you already know so that you bring that confidence and then be confident in the interview. That's what I would say. 12 years experience. By the way, folks, again, I'm answering questions with a Q colon. So if you have a question, please post Q colon, add a Q colon. I'm going to zoom this up a bit. This better? Let's see. It's okay. It's okay. This is visible, right? You guys can see the chat? Should be visible, I think. Okay. 12 years experience Spring reactive developer. That is interesting. Okay, I got laid off last week. Well, sorry to hear that. Tomorrow is my last working day. Can you please share a roadmap to prepare myself for interviews? 12 years experience. I would say start with you're brushing up. Since I don't know how long you've been at your old job. Depending on how long it's been since you've practiced for interviews, I would start with some coding fluency because you need to be able to write code, demonstrate some coding fluency. So do some lead coding with Java. Just brush up on Java fundamentals. Brush up on the Spring framework and microservices, and from there a little bit of the cloud. So either AWS or Azure, rarely GCP, but whatever you already know, just brush up on that. I would say that's like the basic roadmap to get you going. You can work on concepts in parallel when you're learning the coding fluency part, which is lead coding. Just do lead coding every day, and that should help. All right. Pollution is impacting health highly in Delhi. How to tackle? Yeah, so I spoke to the ministers there. Then I've told them what to do, and they're gonna do it. Don't worry, I got it. On a serious note, it is a problem though. I know a lot of people in places where the AQI is really really bad, and it's in social media everywhere. So it is concerning, especially for the kids. I gave a glib answer, but I can't leave it at that. I have to give an honest answer. I don't know, man. It's really hard. I don't really know what to do. Wear a mask. Try to avoid going outdoors. Air purifiers, humidifiers. It is challenging. It is very challenging. How Java involves generative AI? Will it beat Python? Java won't beat Python in the generative AI space, but Python will not beat Java in the application development space. If you're an application developer working with Java, you're likely not training language models or fine tuning and all that stuff, which is what Python is normally used for. What you're doing is integrating AI into your applications, which already use Java. So for that, Python is not going to beat Java. Java is still going to be the king. So I wouldn't worry about that. I'm a senior engineer, do quite a few interviews for the company I work for. I get many candidates that come from senior principal tech roles but lack the basics. How can this happen? A bunch of reasons. One is what are basic? Can you be specific? I think I understand, and I've had this problem as well. So I interview a lot of people. At least I used to. These days it's slowed down, as you can obviously imagine. When I would interview people who are like 12 years, even 20 years experienced folks, I would ask them questions which are like fundamental, not like how do you sort a linked list and all that stuff, right? Basic questions like how does an HTTP request work, and how do you configure, like what does a load balancer do? How do you make sure that a load balancer doesn't act crazy and send a bunch of traffic to one and not distribute the load evenly? Something like the very basic stuff, right? How does TCP work? How is caching configured? What are the problems with caching, cache invalidation issues? These are basic things that, like, if you're in an industry, you're doing backend stuff for 12 years, 15 years, 20 years, you should know this. I mean, even if you don't know this, just working is going to put that in your head because you have to deal with that stuff as a backend engineer. And these are people who don't know. And I've been always like wonder, like, why is that, right? How could someone have that much experience and not have that knowledge? Either they're lying, okay, they don't have that experience, just put that on the resume, or is more likely to happen is they're in comfort zones, right? When you're in a company for a long time, especially for those people, right, who have the experience and who are also in the company for a long time, what ends up happening is, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by my own stream. Isn't that funny? Okay, I'm gonna move this over here. So what ends up happening is they are doing the same thing over and over again because they're in that same role for a long period of time. So what ends up happening is they have a very narrow scope of knowledge. They don't diversify. When do you go outside your regular beaten path in order to gather new information or to learn something new? When you're building hobby projects or when you're just genuinely interested and you learn, right? Some people don't do that, and that's the reason why they're probably very good at what they're currently doing in the job, and they might even be good at kind of growing and learning. Like, you give them a job, they might adapt really well, right? They may not know it now, but they can grab it really quick because they have been doing that at their job. But they just don't have that knowledge right now. So for me as an interviewer, I go like, okay, I have nothing to base my opinion off. Like, is this person good or not? Because the only way I know is by testing their knowledge, and they don't have the knowledge. So unfortunately, I will have to say, no, I can't take you because it's yeah, it's hard because here's another thing that I keep telling our profession as software engineers. We have this unique situation where job readiness and interview readiness are two very different things. What you learn for the job is a part of what gets you to success in an interview. The other thing, like the advice that I just gave, you got to do lead code. Is lead code going to help you on your job? Probably not, but it's going to help you in an interview. So that might also be another thing that's going on. So multiple reasons. I'm going to scroll to the bottom. Here's something that usually happens when I do these streams. I pick a question and I get stuck on it, and there's a bunch of questions that get asked below. So I'm just going to keep going to the bottom. And if you have a question that didn't get answered, just post it again. Okay, it's not that I'm ignoring you. All right. All right. Let's see. I see Bildung. Bildung. How do you pronounce this thing? I never understood. Bildung is great for Java updates. Have you happened to visit? What's your go-to sites for news and blogs on Java and Spring? I do. I do visit sometimes, but not directly. It's not like I want to go to that site and I go. Usually, it's like I have a search, and I end up going to the site which offers this stuff. For news and blogs, what do? I look at Hacker News. I look at Reddit. I follow like the popular blogs like Spring, Oracle, Java. I don't know. Things just turn up in those searches. That's about it, I guess. Really, I don't really have like a routine. Like I gotta go visit these 3 websites. I don't do that. Can you provide course slides on the website? This is a good question. I'll try to do that. Do you know what I do for my course slides? I don't have PowerPoint. What I do is I have markdown slides, and it just shows up using Reveal.js. You folks know what Reveal.js is? It's a really cool presentation thing. Let me see if I can find this. Reveal.js. Share screen. Reveal.js, this thing. You guys know what this is? This is a thing which lets you create presentations using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I use that. So basically what I do is I create slides in Markdown, and I use Reveal.js to kind of create slides from it. I obviously cannot share or maybe I can share the presentation as a PDF. I'll work on it. Okay, I'll work on it. Point noted. Is Java still a good choice, or should I switch over to Go or Rust to secure backend developer role in the USA with 3 years of experience? Currently, master's roadmap for the next 6 months. Java is still a good choice. The problem right now isn't the technology; it is that hiring has slowed down a lot. Okay, the people aren't recruiting as much, so that's the challenge. I think whatever you learn, try to be good at it. The language you learn influences what kind of a role you get and what kind of a company you get a job in. If you learn Java, you're going to get into one of those enterprise companies, big enterprise companies with large code bases. Rust is probably not a good option yet. Go is a pretty good option. Go has a little more adoption in the industry, but it's not enterprise. It's slightly smaller companies and kind of like a slightly more niche, relatively niche tech stacks. So I would say go to use Java or Python if you're going the data route, or Go is also fine. Um, so basically, I said I said everything. Okay, how about this? Do you have a preference for what kind of job you want to do? Do you want to do application development, or do you want to do like the data science or AI development, or do you want to work on startups and work in startups and do more cutting edge work? So if you want to do enterprise development, you're going to go with Java. Data science, AI, go for Python. If you want a little more like modern stacks and startups, use Go. Hope you're doing good. Will the hiring freeze end soon? I have no idea, my friend. I have no idea. It's going to get slower now because of the holidays. Things are going to get slow. Usually, every year, hiring slows down during the December time. Plus, hiring has already been slowing down. So, this time is really, really bad for finding a job. I'm hoping things pick up in the beginning of next year, because one thing that people seem to have realized now is that the promise of AI hasn't quite materialized as people had expected. There was like, for the good part of last year, there was all this chatter that AI is going to take over developer jobs. People are beginning to realize that that's not the case, which we developers had always known. It was just that the senior executives needed to get that, and I think now they're beginning to get it. So I think it's going to pick up like the first half of next year, but who's to say? It's in the future. Anyone who tells they know are lying, or they're deluded. In the UK, layoffs are crazy. It's crazy everywhere, my friend. It's everywhere. It's pretty bad right now. It's been bad from, I think, 2022 onwards. There was a certain point where the explanation was, well, we had a super high peak for COVID, and during the COVID time, everybody was hiring, and we had like extra hiring, unreasonably increased amount of hiring. So people were like, yeah, okay, now we're gonna slow down. They're kind of correcting their mistakes, and now it's back to normal. It's, I think, overcorrected now. It's gone below what was the steady state before the COVID hiring happened. So I'm hoping it's gonna again come back up and correct, because these things, like, it's like a pendulum, right? It shifts a little too much in one direction before they realize it's a problem, and then they shift back. I'm hoping beginning of next year, but who knows? It's hard to tell. What's a 3 to 5 years of experience Java full stack developer expected to know? You're expected to know, full stack developer. Well, you are expected to know a lot more then. You need to know the language, core Java, fluency in the language, some framework, perhaps Spring, to build applications, end-to-end applications. You need to be able to do that. And since you're full stack, you also need some kind of a front-end framework. So very likely it's React. So the popular trending combination is Spring Boot and React. You can pick other options. There are jobs for anything, but contrary to what I said just now, the jobs are dried up. Among the available jobs, you will find something which covers every tech stack, but the popular one is the Spring Boot and React stack. So I would suggest you learn that. So core Java, some framework like Spring Boot, and some UI framework like React. Can you share your spiritual learnings? Do you have any specific questions? I have some spiritual I have some spiritual learnings. One spiritual learning I have is that it's life is a funny thing. Right? The universe is absurd. The universe is absurd. If you think about anything for a long period of time, you'll realize how absurd it is. Think about anything in our society, anything in our lives, right? Rationally, put yourself in a place of perhaps an alien who's visiting the planet, and think, why do we do things a certain way, right? We have practices, we have protocols, we have, like, beliefs, a whole lot of stuff that kind of we have learned over the years since our childhood. We look around and go, okay, here's what everybody else is doing, and we do the same thing, and we kind of take this for granted. But if you were to step back and look at everything, the whole world, the whole human behavior from a fresh pair of eyes, you'll realize so many things we do is completely absurd. We don't realize it, but we still do it. And once you have that realization that the whole world, the whole universe is absurd, there's nothing you can do but still do it, because we live in a society, we still have to do those things. But it'll be with this thing in your mind that a lot of things that we worry about really don't matter. It's most of the things are just absurd. Oh, you clarified. Okay. I don't know, man. These are deep topics. I don't know if we should cover this in this stream. Maybe I need to do a spiritual AMA. How about that? I'm gonna set that up if you folks are interested. Have some thoughts. Okay. What's your experience with Copilot, and how it makes a difference in your work and the way you approach a problem or solution? I have had really good luck with two coding utilities. One is Claude Code, CLI utility, and the second is Cursor IDE. Both of them are really, really good, and it has improved my momentum, my velocity quite a bit, both at work and personally. What I do is, when I have an idea, I start out by ideating with one of these things, right? Claude Code or Cursor. I give it an idea and I ask it to come up with kind of like a high level plan. And I use that plan and I take bits and pieces. I code some of it myself. If something is pretty obvious, I just, like, it's faster for me to code, I just go ahead and code it. And if something is a little trickier, I work with the tool, right? With the Copilot-y thing, right? I don't use Copilot exactly, but all of these belong to that group of tools, right? I use one of those and I kind of ideate and I iterate and I have it write bits and pieces of code and I jump in, add more code, and then kind of like as a programming partner, if you will. It has been really, really helpful. There are a lot of people who say AI generates bad code, and it's useless. I don't buy that. It doesn't generate perfect code. For sure, you can't replace a human being. It can't do like an end-to-end job. But I don't understand how people are using it, that they just go dismiss it entirely and say it's completely useless. I wish we didn't have it. Come on, it's actually helpful. Just like autocomplete is helpful. Imagine if it can do like double the effect of autocomplete. It's already so much beneficial, right? How can you say it's not useful? I don't get it. If any of you folks do think that these things haven't helped you at all, I'd love to hear from you. Is it true that AI will replace our Java developer role? No, it's not true. Internal job switch versus external job switch. External job switch is always easier, much, much easier. You don't have to deal with red tape. And also, here's the benefit of an external job switch. You can control and craft your image however you want, right? It's a clean slate. I used to think about this thing where I told someone else about this recently as well. When we were in school, right? I had switched schools a couple of times. I was in school A, and for various reasons, I had to switch to school B, right? I was a new kid in school B. When I was in school A, I had a bunch of friends, I had a bunch of people who had certain thoughts about me. I was this geeky, nerdy kid in school, right? I used to get bullied and all that stuff. That's a story for another day. But I had this kind of like, there was this image of Kaushik that my classmates had. I went to school B, and that was an opportunity for me to kind of start from a clean slate. There were some stupid things that I'd done in the old school, embarrassing stuff that everybody knew. Everybody knew who I was. And here, when I went to a new school, it was a clean slate, and it was an opportunity for me to kind of correct the mistakes that I'd done earlier and have a completely new set of friends, new set of experiences. It's like you can craft that persona. I think of the same way when you're doing a job switch. You're going to a new company. Even in the interview, you can craft the persona that you want. You can be more like, for example, um, you were in a previous company and you felt that you weren't as authoritative, right? You weren't very confident in the way you were saying things. You kind of had like a very laid back approach, whatever it is, right? I'm not saying it's something bad or good, right? There are characteristics and traits that you have at your work which are not necessarily good or bad, they just are, and you may or may not be happy with them. You can go, well, no, I want to be more authoritative in my new role. You can do that. So it's an opportunity for you to start with a clean slate. You don't get that opportunity when you are doing an internal job switch. People know who you are, people know what kind of a role you have performed, and it's hard to shake that away. So I love the fact that when you're doing an external job switch, you kind of start with a clean slate, and people are more welcoming of new hires than they are often of a intercompany switch. You're in a company, you're often taken for granted, whereas someone who's coming from from another company, it's they're given a little more special treatment. The only problem that I would say is right now, again, jobs have dried up, so an external company change might be hard. How do you crack lead code data structure interviews? Do you have good videos or recommendations? It's just practice, my friend. You don't watch videos to be good at lead code. You just practice it. You just go open lead code or open your IDE and just start coding. That's really the only way you can get better at coding. So don't watch videos. People have asked me a lot of times, can you make videos about lead code? I did. I made a few. But what ends up happening is if you're passively consuming videos, you're basically just memorizing solutions, and memorizing doesn't scale. You can maybe memorize a few patterns, but then even patterns don't scale. There's so many of them, and in a high pressure environment like in an interview, it's hard to recall. So you need to just be fluent. So just do lead code. Don't memorize or don't watch videos. How to start AI journey as a Java developer having 14 years of experience? This is a good question. I would start with understanding the concepts. A lot of AI isn't Python. People have this kind of mapping between you have to be good at AI, you have to learn Python. And if you look at any of the AI tutorials, they're mainly in Python. So people go, well, no, I have to learn Python to be good at AI. Well, that's not true. AI has two different sides to it. If you're having a career in AI, the first side is as a AI practitioner, where you're training models, you're building AI solutions that other people use. Like, for example, you're working on, like, look at the work that people do on a company like OpenAI or Anthropic, right? They're working directly on the AI. They're training the model, they're fine tuning it, they're doing reinforcement learning, that kind of stuff. That is the core AI practitioner stream where you have to be good at Python. There's the other side where you're integrating AI into your application. Okay, that does not require a specific prescribed language. That is language agnostic. You can be a Java developer and learn how to integrate AI into your application. So that's where I would suggest you start. Start with understanding the concepts. I have courses about this. So if you're interested, check it out. So I have courses where I teach you AI concepts without a single line of code, right? These are things that you have to understand. You have to understand how inferencing works. You have to understand what reinforcement learning is. You have to understand what tokens are, how a conversation happens. These are like practical things that you would, it's like you're treating AI as an API that you're invoking, right? You're not even working on the AI. It's other people are working on the AI. They're good at it. They're going to build an LLM. You as an application developer are just using it as an API. So what is that API contract? What are the things you need to do? That's where you start, right? And you can very well do this with Java. There is no dependence on the language for it at all. Just curious, since these AI fugazis majorly depends on an energy, wonder if any tool captures the measurement of tokens versus energy consumption thoughts. People don't care about energy, right? There, it's funny how a lot of the tech world was so much green conscious before AI came about. They were like, yeah, we are doing sustainable energy, we're doing green energy. Like everybody was like hyper focused on it, right? And they had all these ambitious goals to be carbon neutral at a certain point. And then AI came about, and AI burns energy like crazy, right? There's no accounting for it, right? You can't ask like OpenAI or any of these other providers, like what is your carbon footprint? Has anybody asked that? Does anybody know? Nobody knows, and they don't. I think people have stopped caring because there's money involved. So why care about carbon footprint when we can make millions of dollars here? So yeah, nobody knows. But people correct me if I'm wrong. Is there a way we can find out the carbon footprint for these major AI providers? I'd love to know. Right now, what's happening is there is focus on ramping up energy capacity for these things. So they're building a lot of like energy generating sources, right? They're even focusing on clean energy. I'm not saying they're not, but clean energy is not able to sustain the rate at which we are using energy. So I'm guessing a lot of it is dirty energy. So there are power centers being built, power plants being built. And my hope is that these are good in the long run, where the whole AI hype dies down and the energy consumption rate dies down a little bit, or at least dims a little bit. Then these things can take the place of dirty energy right now, and just the drive of money is going to make these power plants get set up, and then they're going to sustain beyond the AI hype. That's what I hope. But yeah, I don't think anything captures the rate at which energy is being spent. In India, the job market is good. Really? I'm getting at least one call per day. I already have two. Really? Really? I don't know. I'm gonna put the doubt meme here. Really? Which location are you in? I'm curious to know which location are you in, because I have talked to a bunch of people in India and they're struggling. They're really struggling. So maybe it's a sign that things are picking up, and circumstantial evidence, of course. But I'm really glad that you said this. Um, Let me know which location you're from. Rough area. Course are uploaded early on your website, so slow on YouTube. I admit it. I'm guilty of it. I'm sorry. I'll try to get better at it. You call me out, and I accept. Completely my fault. I'll try to get better at it. I'm sorry. You're in Chennai. Okay, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I'll ask around. I spent about 4 years of my career in Chennai. I worked for TCS there, and I have a lot of friends in Chennai. So let me ask around. This is encouraging. I'm actually excited about this. It's glad that it is. If it's picking up, it's glad. Okay, Pune, it's bad. So I don't know if it's an area thing, or if it's just maybe it's a skill set thing. You have skill set that's in demand. I'd love to hear what skill sets you have as well. Um, Silky 572. Let me know what skill sets you have. There was another question here. What 3 skills would you most strongly recommend learning right now? What 3 skills? You don't have to learn how to code because AI is going to do it, right? No. Let me answer seriously. One thing is, I would say, depending on your experience, if you're not a complete fresher, I would say some understanding of system design is very, very important. I kind of pivoted to making system design tutorials as well, precisely because of this reason. nobody is checking so much about how good you are at coding because there's already AI. There's all this talk about AI, AI assisted coding interviews. You folks heard about this? You don't really need to be good at coding completely because companies have started adding AI into coding interviews. So you can use an LLM and crack lead code. So in that case, like why would you even practice lead code? But until that happens, some kind of a fluency with coding, like just being able to type code, right? That's the basic skill. And the third thing, so system design, fluency in coding, and what else? I guess AI concepts is another thing which I would say is beneficial because that's where the hype is. I'm not a big fan of following the hype. I usually stay away from hype. Okay, and like I'm a senior Java developer with 20 years of experience. I'm a relic, so I don't do the hype thing very well. But I think AI has now gone past the point of hype, and it's kind of permeating. Even if it's a bubble and everything goes bad or whatever, AI is not going away, right? That some form of AI will still remain. So understanding LLM concepts and learning how to use it in your application would be skill number 3. So in summary, system design, right? Understanding design, understanding concepts, right? How networks happen, how caching happens, how APIs work, how load balancing happens, those kind of stuff. Asynchronous systems, synchronous systems, how do they work? Just like being familiar with how the software development ecosystem works in general, right? First skill. Um, Second skill would be fluency in coding, and third skill would be fluency in LLM concepts. All right, Spring Boot, Java, microservices, Azure. This is a common stack. It's a very popular stack. So I'm glad that you're getting more offers. I'm hoping it's a sign of things to come. We will see. We will see. Elon Musk's prediction is that we wouldn't work after the next 20 years. Any thoughts? I don't think that's true. We will always work. We will always. What ends up happening is whenever we remove work, we treat that as a baseline and we go, okay, what can we do from here? So there's always going to be work. We as humans cannot settle. We cannot accept the status quo. That's just the way it is. And this applies not just for work versus not work, it also applies for efficiency. Okay. For example, they said, okay, AI is going to come and help engineers and we're going to be super efficient and we won't need to code so much anymore. Well, guess what happens? When AI does deliver on its promise, if and when it delivers on its promise, that becomes the status quo. And everybody says, okay, from here as the baseline, what can we do? How can we improve? So we never accept the status quo as like we are not doing anything. So it's not in our human nature. Ever since we were wearing clothes made out of leaves and hanging out in caves, it's always been the case. We are never satisfied. We always want more. So if there's something magical that happens that does everything for us, we're going to go, okay, great. Now, what do we do next? Right? We're always going to be working. How's your journey in content creation and courses? I've answered this a few times. I don't know if there's anything specific you're interested in. My journey to content creation was basically I started watching YouTube videos for things that I wanted to do. I think my first video that really like the fact about YouTube being an instructor clicked for me when I watched those Hibernate videos long back. I think it was in 2010, right? I was working on a problem, right? Needed Hibernate. I was working on something, I don't even remember what it was. Stuck with something related to Hibernate. Didn't understand how this works. So I, for whatever reason, went to YouTube and I searched and I had a tutorial, and I really liked the tutorial and like, yeah, this solved my problem. So I was like, okay, well, why don't I make it? Right? I know some stuff. Maybe I can share it and help people. So I started creating a servlet tutorial, and the momentum kind of picked up from there, and just started making more and more. People started asking, "Hey, make this tutorial, make this tutorial." I was like, "Cool, people want to watch my stuff," and I started making that. So that was my journey. I'd like to thank you. Because of you, I changed my tech to Java. Your videos have helped a lot of people. Also, when do you think AI will replace 50% engineers? I don't think AI will replace 50% of the engineers. AI will replace 50% of the work done by engineers, and work will fill up for the part that gets freed up. I don't think we're going to. Yeah, I don't think. I don't think it's gonna take away as many jobs as people think it's gonna take away. But who knows? Who knows? Please plan design patterns and system design courses. I already have. You should check out my stuff. I already have a bunch of system design, like 2, 3 system design courses, and design patterns. Design patterns. I don't know, man. I don't know. Should I make them? Do people still ask design pattern interview questions? Design patterns are. I don't think I've ever used design patterns on the job. And maybe a controversial statement to make. I've never said, maybe singleton is like, yeah, this is a singleton. You often need singleton classes, but other stuff I've never like consciously went, I'm going to use this design pattern and used it, or talked about a design pattern with a colleague, right? I don't know if you folks, do you folks use design pattern on the job? Maybe it's asked in interviews, but I've never found it to be. They ask in interviews, really. I don't know. Do you use it on the job? Really? Is it useful anymore? I don't know. It's maybe I'll make them. I don't know. Usually people ask and I go like, yeah, maybe I do it. But then when I sit down to actually do it, I'm like, nah, I don't. I don't like it. I don't like it. There was this question about solid principles as well, which I find is a little more useful, right? Especially for object-oriented programming, people ask what is solid. Even if they don't ask this in interviews, it's like it's good to know solid principles, because you do create classes all the time, and it's good to know. But design patterns, I don't know if you consciously make an effort to do this. In enterprise applications, whole implementation is based on different design patterns. What kind of design patterns though? Like, do you usually what ends up happening is, when I've seen enterprise design okay, builder patterns, builder factory. Okay, I get it. I get it. Okay, I get it. I get it. These are things that I do, but I don't really call it the design pattern. I see what you guys mean though. Okay, fair, 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 fair. I get it. Okay, maybe you folks have convinced me to make courses design patterns. We will see. All right. Hello. Thank you for dropping by and saying hi. It's been a while since I've done this, so I thought I'd just do an AMA session. All right. What role would DSA play for 6 to 8 years experience? Would we suggest regarding DSA? DSA is mainly used for coding interviews, I think. I don't know. You folks can maybe correct me if I'm wrong and say, well, I actually use it in on the job. Well, data structures you do on the job. Algorithms, maybe not. But with data structures, it's more of specific to what you want to do, like a business problem you need to solve. It's often decided by the business problem and not by like you're going to use this data structure as is. Often what I do is use data structures that come with the programming language. And working with Java, the collections usually work. I don't do any custom data structures beyond that. Algorithms, we have a lot of algorithms you need to practice for interviews. But again, with on the job, you usually go with whatever algorithms your collection APIs give you. Usually, most of the times, you don't do anything custom. Where do I live and work? I live in California right now, in the Bay Area, California, close to San Francisco, and I work for a company called LinkedIn. I've been working there for I think 6 years now. I'm a long timer there. All right. I have 3 years of Java experience with returning a career gap. Need to land a job urgently since I don't have the time to go through every resource, which your videos or topics are must have to get interview ready in the shortest time possible. Okay, 3 years of experience, I would say focus on core Java and Spring Boot. That should be it. That should get you going. Like the minimal stuff, core Java and Spring Boot. Don't worry about the other stuff. Long time learner, thank you. You are very welcome. Thank you for stopping by to say hi. Is product management a good career choice after 17 years of dev QA experience? Yeah, it is. It is very much so. A lot of people switch to product management after that amount of time. They either go to product management or people management, and I think product management is a much more useful career than people management. I just hope my manager doesn't listen to this, but I honestly feel that product management has, like, I have this engineering mindset and I always like to have concrete output, right? When I'm doing something, I want to be able to say I made this, I did this, and there is something that manifests as a result of it, right? I can, even if I'm a product manager, I can go, well, I built that feature, I worked with engineers and built that feature, and there's something there. With people management, you don't get that. You do get the indirect output, right? You manage people who build stuff, and you go, well, I manage the team which built it, which is, I think, one level too removed for me to get that satisfaction. Your mileage may vary, but yeah, product management is a very good option for sure. There was this hypothesis that as AI assists developers and it takes on the core work, right, the low level work, a lot of what we do as developers ends up becoming product management and kind of like feature management, because it's like we're moving to more higher level, right? Higher level of abstraction. We're doing natural language coding. So we are all product management managers in that sense. I don't know how much that hypothesis is going to actually become true, but I don't know. It's product management. Like AI, it doesn't do product management. So it's a little, at least for now. So it's a little bit AI proof in that sense. You work in LinkedIn, goddamn, is it? Are you? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. How big has mentoring and being mentored helped in your career? Okay, for this one, you should probably not go by my experience because I have had a bad track record of mentorship, both as a receiver and as a giver. I'm very much an introvert. I don't I don't like other people. No, that's not true. I don't like talking to other people unless it is it is a personal conversation. I like achieving an objective and having a conversation be about that objective. So, for example, we're designing a new module at work and we have to put our collective heads together and do that. I love that stuff, right? I love to collaborate. I love to whiteboard where it's like there is a specific thing we are building, but I don't like talking to people about like, well, what's your career goal and what do you like to do and all that. There is a little bit of, I don't know, it's I've never been comfortable opening up. I have mentored a few people and they have told me that it's helped them, but I haven't mentored as much as I would like. I guess this is a kind of mentorship in a way, and I'm sharing some of my knowledge with you folks. But yeah, I usually haven't done as much of a job as good of a job as I would like with this thing. I haven't been mentored at all, I would say, and I haven't mentored as much as I would like. Um, yeah, well, What projects do you think will make a resume shortlisted and worth working? I don't think it matters so much, um, because everybody has buzzwords these days. There used to be this belief that, like, you want to get a job with a certain technology, fill your resume with buzzwords from that technology and create a project with that technology. But these days, it's like anybody can do it, right? You want a job with Spring Data, write a resume with Spring Data, give a prompt to an LLM. It's going to create a project with Spring Data. Just check that in, right? Done. You've achieved it. So I don't think it should be resume focused. It's be more of learning focus. You can have projects, but I don't think they matter as much anymore. It's more of like what you learn from building those projects, even if you don't publish it, is what matters. Resume stuffing has become very, very easy now, and so it carries very little value. How do you manage time? Some tips, please. I want to switch company and not getting enough time. What is taking your time right now? What are you doing that you don't have time for this, um, to level up? I would start there. It's not about finding time, it's about removing wastages, which usually helps, because we all have the same amount of time, right? You can't, it's hard to add new time. You just got to remove. And when you remove, things open up. So I would say find where you're wasting time and replace it with something that you would rather do. Uh, the things that I've noticed we waste time with is with mindless activities. I am often guilty of that. And what's funny is, for example, right? I don't watch movies because, honestly, I don't like them. It's just I like reading books, but for a long period of time, that was a blocker for me as well. It's like, oh, do I want to spend, like, 8 hours reading this book? It's a huge investment, right? It's movies 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, right? Book is 8 hours. So I go like, yeah, I could watch maybe three movies. So I have 2 hours today. I could maybe watch one movie, or maybe I could do 1/4 of a book. Do I want to spend that much time? It's a waste. Should I be doing something else? Like, all these mathematical calculations come into my mind, and then I would go on my phone, and I would see shorts. Like, well, okay, shorts is like what, 1 minute? It's not a lot of time. Well, I can watch that, or maybe Instagram reels. I would do that, and guess what? I've been doing that, and I've spent 1 hour already, right? Instead of doing all that calculation, I do. I would have just spent that 1 hour reading a book or whatever. Instead of that, I've spent these smaller portions of time, and they have accumulated to a huge amount. So remove small time wastages because they add up. If you remove that, then you're easily going to make space for all this other stuff. The trap that these things have is that we start down this path thinking it's a small time investment, right? You watch a small YouTube video, or a short, or an Instagram reel. It seems like it's a small time investment, but you never stop with one video. You never stop with one YouTube short. You want to watch the next one. You want to watch the next one. So it is deceptive in that it feels like you're spending less time, but overall the cumulative time is spent more. Instead of that, if you start reading a book, you can do 1 hour and you're going to be out of it in an hour. You're many people go like, yeah, I can't read a book beyond an hour. Well, isn't that a better use of your time? So keep that in mind. Don't be deceived by the perceived time taken by an activity. Look at what's your track record of how much time you spend on an activity, and then course correct based on that. Sometimes I feel like the industry is sprinting so fast it'll take a lot to catch up. Yeah, that is true. That is true. It is, the speed at which the pace is increasing is also increasing. It's literally an acceleration, right? um, or like one level meta. It is hard because right now we have a lot of sources of information and a lot of information, but very little time. So we have to prioritize. I would say stick to your track and not get too swayed by all the noise that's happening. People like to talk a lot these days, don't they? Everybody wants to shout out what they're doing, what their opinion is, and what they think is going to be the future. Just don't get sidetracked by it. If you kind of tune out the noise and stay on your track, I think it's still manageable. It's still manageable. It isn't going as fast. Also, it's useful to have prioritization in terms of what you want to go in depth and what you want to just learn. Right? I talk about the T-shaped developer. You know what the T-shaped developer is, right? You have a T, like how the shape of the T. You have a lot of width covering at the top, and then you have one depth, right? So that's the level at which you need to look at this news, look at all the catching up part, right? Yes, the industry is doing 100 different things. Just know about 50 of those top ones. Just be aware of it. You don't have to go in depth. And what is related to your track, what you already have expertise in, for that alone you go in depth. That's, I would say, the best way to manage this and not get overwhelmed. What steps can I take to get more interview calls? The sad fact is, it comes down to networking. That's really the best. That's the only way you can stand out. We are at a point where just cold calling, just sending out resumes is not going to work anymore because we have scaled it and we have too many people applying to too many jobs. So if you do a passive cold application of a resume, it's just going to go sit in the heap. You're just going to fill some database and they're not going to bother with it. The best way to get interviews and to get called is through networking. Have someone who you know who's in a job refer you. That's really the only way. I hate that this is true because what matters is who you know more than what you know. So it's like it is frustrating, right? People go like, Kaushik, I have to learn Spring Boot and Java and AI and all that stuff, and I have to socialize and I need to have a network. It's hard, but that's what it takes right now. So you don't have to do this, but it's going to improve your chances significantly if you network and ask people to refer you. You single-handedly changed the skill set of many people through your videos. Thank you, thank you. It's hard to believe because all I do is speak to a camera here, but I'm glad to know if this is true. Then it is very humbling, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity. How much tech should one know to be a product manager? Is in-depth knowledge a necessity, or high-level knowledge is enough? I think high-level knowledge is enough for a product manager. You don't need in-depth stuff. You need to know the capabilities because one of the things that bad product managers do is they don't realize the feasibility. The thing is, when you're a product manager, you need to dream, right? Sky's the limit. You need to dream and you need to be ambitious, but there is a part of you which needs to also evaluate the feasibility. Well, yeah, I like to do this. I like the product to do it, but is it feasible? And how much time is it going to take to build something? That's stuff that you get from a basic understanding of really the domain you're working in, the technology that your team is using to build it. You need to know how, like, what is it realistic, right? You don't want to be dreaming without a practical foundation. So for that practical foundation, you need some high level tech knowledge. We're using Claude Code, but I'm not learning as before by manual coding. Since others in the team are using Claude Code, if I go by manual coding, then I'm slow than them. Yeah, so what you should do is review the code that Claude Code does. That way you can still be aware, right? Which you should be doing anyway. I had a live stream, like I had a class about prompt engineering recently where people asked like, how much should I know about the code that's generated by AI? Well, the answer is 100%. You better know. You're accountable for the code that you use an AI to generate. So I think the sweet spot is you use Cloud Code to generate code, right? No, Cloud Code, Cursor, Copilot, whatever, right? And you look at it, you understand it, you have the mental model in your head, right? Usually, what happens when you're coding without AI, you build the mental model in your head and you translate it to code, right? Here, some of it can work the same way. You build a mental model in your head and you tell Cloud Code to implement that mental model and then you nudge it towards where you want it to go. Or if you don't want to do that, you can have Cloud Code write the code and then construct the mental model from it. But it has to be in your head. What is being written in the code has to be in your head. If not, you're having that like a little bit of lack of learning and you get out of touch with that fluency of coding. That's a slippery slope. You don't want to go there. So either build the mental model and have Cloud Code implement it, or have Cloud Code implemented first and then construct the mental model afterwards. However you do it, you need to be in charge. You need to be accountable for it. And when you pull out a pull request, someone asks you a question, you need to be able to explain exactly why a certain piece of code is doing a certain thing. If you're not doing that, then you're using Cloud Code wrong. If you do that, then you don't have this problem. You still have the benefit of speed, but at the same time, you're not letting your brain rot. You're still keeping it sharp. Amid the AI hype, many companies are aiming to do more with fewer resources, which is increasingly leading to employee burnout. This is true. This is happening, and there is a lot of review pressure as well. There is more PRs to review. This is something that I've spoken to a lot of people. They all have this problem. They're using Cloud Code or whatever to generate code, but a good portion of their time that's freed up is now in reviewing other people's code. So it is leading to burnout, and it is a challenge. I get it, but it is also, I would say, it's gonna stabilize. Right now, people have this new tool and they're using it everywhere. They don't realize the problem with it. I feel like it is gonna like dip down a little bit, right? This intense pressure to just keep cranking out code has a drawback that people have already started realizing, but they're going to realize more as we progress. So I think it'll happen. It'll die down a little bit. The burnout will not stay for a long time. I think. Java Spring based lead dev with 15 years in fintech. Oh, I did fintech for a while. Interesting stories. For transitioning to upper tier tech company, what would you suggest? How much to showcase AI knowledge in resume and lead coding play roles? Lead coding is a must because even though LLMs are doing a lot of the coding job, it hasn't still permeated into coding rounds. People are still asking for lead code stuff. How much of AI knowledge? I would say, as an application developer, be familiar with the concepts. You don't have to watch my courses, but at least look at the table of contents. The stuff that I cover there, you need to be aware of. For example, I have like AI for without Python, right? I cover like what are the concepts of AI that an application developer needs to be aware of. That stuff you have to know, right? Interacting with AI as an API, you need to be aware of, and bringing that into your application. As long as you have that, that's good. You should be good to go. And lead code fluency is a must. So you need to be able to write code fluently and solve lead code problems. All right. Thoughts on the future of Java? I don't think Java is going anywhere. The enterprise space is always going to be using, I wouldn't say always, because who knows what's going to happen 100 years from now. For the foreseeable future, the enterprise space is going to be using Java. No one has the confidence to switch the enterprise applications to Python. Even though for all the buzz that Python gets, people are still hesitant to go Python for certain class of problems, which is a good sign for Java developers. It's like that's the place where Java shines. I feel like there might be some JVM based language that might overtake Java, like Kotlin, in the far future. But for the foreseeable future, Java is not going anywhere. And as things get picked, like as those other non-Java JVM languages pick up, I would say watch for that space and kind of start learning at the time. But right now, it's like Java is still the king. So maybe add one more JVM language, or maybe learn some non-JVM languages like Python. But yeah, I don't think Java is going anywhere. What to refer someone, what skills do the guy need to be an expert? Huh? If what to refer someone, what? So if you want to refer someone, what skills should they be an expert in? Well, it depends on what job you're referring them to, right? You have a company, you have a job opening there, and you're referring them to that job opening. Well, they need to match that skill set. That's all that you need to care. Please add presentations for quick revision. Yes, I got this feedback as well. I will take that up as I have a to do that. I will add that. It's hard to do that on YouTube because YouTube is like just has videos, but on my course platform, I'll try to add like presentations. I'm so disorganized. I'm so bad at presentation, like managing presentations. Some of the stuff that I had for my older courses are just lost. I know I should be better at it. It's like I just teach, and then I've always considered the video as the final package. I've never paid much attention to the slides. Slides are just like, I've always thought of slides as like a tool for me and not for the students, which is a huge mistake. So I'll keep this in mind. The slides that I already have, I will publish them for sure. Market is highly hyped with DevOps, and people are highly migrating to DevOps and data engineering. How do you see them in line for AI replacement or automation? Well, AI is entering the DevOps space as well. There's a lot of projects that are coming up which do DevOps related stuff with AI. They're integrated into CI/CD. They're integrated into monitoring and distributed tracing and all that. So first of all, I don't think people are heavily migrating to DevOps because I don't know. I don't think I agree with the premise. But if they are just as likely to be replaced. Like if people are going to DevOps because they feel like AI is going to take over the coding jobs and DevOps is safe, well, no, that's not necessarily true. DevOps is supposed to be dev and ops, right? So if AI is taking over dev, it will lead to people doing more. Like I think the boundary is going to be blurred, and developers are going to start doing more ops rather than ops doing more dev. So I don't think it's like a safe space for people to go. I hope people aren't making this kind of a decision because they feel AI is going to take over dev jobs. Will AI going to remove programming jobs? No, it'll not. Recently did a switch, and as a team, we had a conversation with higher ups. They say AI will not replace humans. AI is so delusional. A human with knowledge is needed to handle it. So we hired. I think there is a continuation to that thing. Yeah, AI is not going to replace humans. It hasn't so far. Okay. And there was this, like at the beginning, with the rate at which AI was progressing, it was exponential. And people basically just expanded that line, right? They just drew that line straight up. assuming that the same trend is going to happen. That hasn't happened yet. And it is going to make people more efficient. So right now the argument is that it's not going to replace people. It is just going to make people write more code more efficiently. So there's lesser need for a larger team. Right now they're like, it'll just make things more efficient. So teams are going to get smaller. But in my experience, that hasn't happened either. So maybe it will in the future, but it's not. A lot of it is just hype, man. People are just hyping because that's what gets attention. We are in an attention economy now. People who say like um, controversial stuff get the attention. Now that a lot of people are kind of gotten the attention of AI is going to do everything and take over jobs, I think we are going to move towards a phase where the controversial stuff to say is that AI is not going to do that. And I think people are going to start posting jobs about, I think it's already happening. People are going to, oh, the AI bubble is burst. Because guess what? That's controversial. Is that true? Who knows? It's just that that's what gets more eyeballs and that's what people start posting about. Whenever you have a lot of hype like this, like usually a suspect. Is it really? Is it really? How do you know, right? Do cloud certifications, maybe developer certificate will still add value? Yes. If you're doing any certification, go for cloud certification. That's what I said 5 years ago, and that's what I still say. Any of the programming certifications are just a waste of time. Java certification, waste of time. Don't do it. Cloud certifications, go for it. Pick a cloud that you're already familiar with or where you see yourself working, and then do it. The top ones are AWS and Azure. And just pick one of those and just get a certification. It'll add to your resume for sure. What are some skills that will still be relevant in the age of AI? System design skills and architecture. Yes. System design, just ability to build an entire application end to end, knowing all the nuances, all the angles that you need to consider, not just writing one function and being done with it, right? Building an entire application end to end, especially for backend developers. And soft skills, being able to speak, being able to be assertive, make an opinion, have an opinion and make it clear, and talk to a group of people and collaborate, listen. Those are the skills that are going to be really, really important. And I don't know. That's yeah, just focusing on being more problem oriented, I would say, is a really good skill to have, right? Understand the problem. It's not about, see, AI is only going to worry about the implementation of a specific part of a problem. But if you're looking at the overall problem, the final problem, and kind of be problem oriented, goal oriented, you're going to really stand out with AI tools. And you focus on the problem, you're going to be unstoppable. I see one of old videos long back. You said always focus and be good at DSA, design principles, and distributed system. Rest is all technology. It might change for every half or quarter. Right? That's the thing. And that is still true. I don't know how long back I said it. This is really, this is why you should listen to Kaushik, ladies and gentlemen, because I say the right thing. Okay? Listen to my advice. My advice still hasn't changed. Focus on the principles, right? The principles, the building systems, data structures and algorithms, maybe for interviews. And again, some people said yes, it is still being used, but building an application end to end, right? System design concepts. Those are the things that are going to make you a successful developer. These are like implementation details. They come and go, right? Today it's this, tomorrow it's going to be something else. Thoughts on the AI bubble? How do people feel about them? Well, it is a little like I said, it's what gets eyeballs now. So more people are writing about it. People are writing about AI bubble because that's what gets the clicks. But I think even that's overhyped. There was hype earlier about AI taking over, and now there is hype about AI bubble. It's again the other end, which is what's more controversial, and that's what people post about because that gets more clicks. I don't think that's true either. People who work in the industry know this. If you have worked on code and used a coding assistant, you know how useful it is. It's not a bubble. It's not going away. I don't think people like if you get rid of AI and all the coding assistants, productivity is going to be seriously affected. So it is useful right now, and it is a very integral tool that is being used by everyone. So it's not, you know, it's it's a positive, right? It's a net positive, and I can only see it being used more and more as people add it to their workflow, as it gets added to applications. But it's not like groundbreaking and taking over everything as well. So basically, what I'm saying is both are hyped, right? Just like the initial hype about AI basically taking over the world was hyped, the AI bubble is also hyped. So I would say just keep that in mind. Everyone's spending buying software stocks, and AI came with that software. With hype, software is dying, software stocks are going down. Yeah, don't worry about the stock market. It's just, again, that's all based out of hype. When something else comes up, and like, I'm willing to bet some company posts earnings where there is this huge profit being made, it's going to pick up again, because there's a lot of FOMO with the software, with the stock market in general, right? When there's a little hint of a good news or a little hint of a bad news, people overcorrect and then they go back, right? So it's like people want to stay ahead of everybody else. So that's the reason why it's like it's herd mentality with stocks. So I wouldn't pay a lot of attention to that. Okay. System thinking is one of the most demanding skill right now. According to you, how a Java developer can be good at it? Watch my courses. I'm making a lot of system design courses, and also just read a lot. Read about the thing about, see, here is a problem with system thinking and system design. It's hard to have like a complete roadmap of it. I've seen system design courses that people make. It's very, very basic. It's mainly geared towards cracking interviews. That's about it, right? It's like, how do you design Twitter? How do you how do you design a URL shortener? That's not system thinking. All you're doing is preparing for interviews. System thinking is a little more holistic. So I'm not kidding. If you can, watch my courses. I have a load balancer course, right? It's like what, around, I have like around 70 videos which cover deep system thinking, right? I cover concepts. I explain the why. That's the thing that I've been um, reached out to from the beginning. People come to Java Brains videos because they want to understand the why. And that's the key. That's always been my focus. And guess what? That's what helps you stand out now. You have 100 YouTube tutorials explaining you to syntax and not explaining why that happens. Very few that explain to you the why. I'm plugging myself, but in this case, I feel it's really justified, and I have to do this. Humility be damned. So I'm going to tell the facts because that's what it is. You need to understand why you're doing something. It's not enough to just learn the syntax. It never was, and now with AI, it will not be. You need to know the problem. You need to know the thinking behind how you solve the problem. Once you've got all of that, only then the syntax comes in. Syntax is a very small, tiny piece. You need to understand the context around it. And it's even more important now with AI. So you have to be good at it. I would say start reading books about distributed systems, and if you can, watch my course. Shameless self plug, but it's the perfect answer to your question. That's the best answer that I can give you. Miss the old Stack Overflow days. I don't miss it as a participant. I miss it as a consumer. Participant of Stack Overflow, it was a mess. It was very, very well, very much gate kept. And give me a second. I'm gonna open the window. It's getting a little stuffy here. I'll be right here. I'm right here. I'm here. I'm here. Just open the window. So Stack Overflow as a participant was very much gate kept, right? You had to be very careful about what kind of questions you ask, and there were moderators who would like really ban you, close questions immediately if it wasn't perfectly aligned with the Stack Overflow rules. Now you can ask ChatGPT anything. I can ask the stupidest question. I can be as dumb as I can, and ChatGPT is going to patiently explain it to me. So that part I don't miss. I do miss the repository that was created by the participants of Stack Overflow. You might say, well, Kaushik, you've liked the repository. It is a result of the draconian moderator policies. I don't know if I completely agree with that, but whatever it is, the repository was good, and I missed that for sure. What sport or extracurricular activity do you enjoy doing or watching? What genres of books do you read? Well, I like walking. I'm not a sports person. I'm old, man. I'm in my middle age now. I'm not fit enough for a lot of sports. I like walking. I walk a lot. I do physical, some kind of cardio. I try to do it every day. These days I've stopped because the weather is really, really cold here. But I try. And regarding books, I read a wide variety of books. I have a Goodreads account. Search for me, you might be able to find me there on Goodreads. And I post what book I read over there. So you can, if you're interested, you can catch up. I read a mix of fiction and nonfiction. The book that I'm currently reading, let me see if I have it. Give me a second. I'll find the book that I'm currently reading. It is nonfiction, and it's pretty interesting. I just check out books from my library, and I read that. This is the one that I'm currently reading. Could, should, might, don't. How we think about the future. And the author is Nick Foster. Nick Foster. So this is a guy who worked in Google, Apple, all the top FANG, MANG, whatever it's called, companies. And he talks about the future, what we think about the future, how we think about the future. And he has like 4 quadrants for what we need to do about the future, right? We have things that we should do. We have things that we could do, maybe, maybe not. We have things that we might do, and we have things that we don't want to do, right? So you basically break it down into our plans for the future into these 4 quadrants. It's a pretty interesting book. And also, I also read, fiction. I love mysteries. I like intrigue. Love a bit of adventure as well. So it's a random mix. If you're really interested in my book list, you should check out my Goodreads. Just search for my account there. Different pricing model. Can you give me an example? You don't have to write to me here. Message me on my website, and let me know an equivalent platform and what their pricing is, so that I can adjust. Just write to me there. Someone mentioned one platform. I'm looking at that. There are these flat pricing models. What I have is subscription, and people have been like, no, we want a flat one-time pricing model, which is usually on the higher side. Some people go, no, we don't want that. We want a subscription service. So let me know if there is an equivalent platform where you think the price is fair. Let me know. I'd love to consider it. Lovecraftian horror. I'm not a fan of horror. I never had, like, I don't even watch horror movies. Well, life is horrible enough already. You want horror? Go look outside. Go watch the news. There's horror there. You don't need crazy Lovecraftian horror to chill your spine. There's already enough horror in the world. No, I like more literary stuff. I like mysteries, and yeah, that's about it. I'm in my 20s and 30s, but it looks like there is not much time left where I can physically cannot do certain things. No. Oh no. Okay. I'm in my 40s. Okay, and I'm not saying that age is a limiting factor. It's just that I am in a position where I haven't been playing. Like, I think the question was about sport. I haven't been playing sport for a good majority of my life. And that is a contributing factor to me not playing sport now. Okay. I can, if I want, I can pick things up. So, for example, like last year, I got a little bit into tennis. I didn't really have a partner, so I would basically play tennis against a wall. I was okay at it. And if I choose to do it, I could. So don't let my situation stop you. There are a lot of people who play sports in their 40s, in their 50s, and even in their 60s. So this should not be a limiting factor. A lot of the limiting factor is in your mind, really. How do you improve soft skills? It's a mindset thing. It's about building confidence and the mental game. That's how you improve your soft skills. It's not about if you lack confidence, it doesn't matter how well you speak, you cannot speak well because there is this thing in your mind which stops you. We all have a filter, right? When we talk, we all have a filter which kind of, there's a part of in your mind with, should I say this? Should I say that? Should I say it this way? There's a filter, right? And the filter is often dictated by your mindset. If you're confident, you speak out. Like if you're in your home, you're not going to say, okay, what is my soft skills, right? You talk to your family, you talk to your kids or your parents, you're fine. Why does the question of soft skills come up at work? It comes up at work because it's your mindset which changes. There is a different personality, that there is a different mask that you put at work. So if you change that mindset, soft skill comes up automatically. So I would say build that confidence. With confidence, it's more of like a chicken and egg thing. Unless you have something to back your confidence, you don't get that confidence, right? And if you don't have the confidence, you don't venture into doing things that back your confidence. So there's a little bit of like you got to push yourself and just do it. And after that, the soft skill basically builds up by itself. All right, I'm gonna wrap up. I see the time; it's already 1.5 hours. I need to wrap up now. So, thank you for stopping by and asking such great questions. I'm gonna do another one. I keep putting this off. I need to do this more. The next one I'm gonna do pretty soon. Okay, maybe I will even set something up and maybe do more of it. So, thank you for joining. Thank you for asking such great questions. I'm sorry if I didn't answer any of your questions. I will do my best to answer them next time. So please drop in and ask them. I hope this is helpful. I'll do more, I promise. Thank you all. Have a good day. Have a good night. Bye bye.